Hi, I hope everyone had a good week. As I read this week's chapters, I learned a lot about sound effects and dialogue, as well as musical score in filmmaking. Using what I learned this week, I will be discussing how sound effects affect films, how sound effects create realism in films, and also how musical scores have emotional impacts on films. Sound effects can affect the way a film is presented and interpreted in many ways. Some of these ways are to help convey information, reinforce characteristics, and to highlight the important elements of a story. Each of these elements contribute significantly to the narrative and characterization of a film. On to my next point. Sound effects can create realism in films by creating effects that we hear in everyday life, and that is normal to us based on our surroundings. Some of these may be sounds from nature, sounds of cars passing by, and even white noise that you might hear when you're in a room by yourself. These sound effects allow an audience to look back at times when they might have been in these settings, and it really helps them understand what the characters are feeling in that moment and portrays the feeling that the filmmaker is trying to set in that scene. One example that this reminded me of was the scene in The Notebook where Noah takes Allie onto the pond, and you can hear nature sounds in the background, sounds from insects, the sound from the water, the sound from him pedaling. It all comes together and kind of creates a sense of calm, and then you can hear the thunder rolling in from the storm, and then that kind of creates the calm before the storm aspect and allows the audience to understand that it's about to go downhill really fast. And finally, I'm going to talk about how musical scores create emotional impacts by sharing a sound or a song. Music has always been a way for me to control my emotions, feel my emotions on a deeper level, and so when that's incorporated into film, it really portrays to the audience what the film is trying to represent for them. It portrays what the characters are feeling, what the audience should feel, whether that's happiness, anger, suspense. It could really be any range of emotions. This is also a big way that filmmakers keep their audiences emotionally attached to the film and draw them in to make sure that they're invested in the storyline throughout the movie. Musical scores can also be used to portray to the audience that there's a very important scene, or it gives the hint to remember that moment because it will come up again later, or that moment determines the fate of the end of the story. So it just shows the audience that that was a very significant moment and it needs to be remembered. Although I enjoyed many of the concepts that I learned, I have to say the use of musical chords is my favorite, just because I am very emotionally attached to music and love how it can represent emotions and how it can make a person feel better or feel how the scene is supposed to make you feel. Thank you.